Besame mucho from Cesaria Evora. And these... Hello everyone, Zeospantera here, and I'm sitting in front of the iLoud Micro Pros. Honestly, these speakers probably made one of the biggest impacts on my channel ever. These are the original iLoud Micros. And if you remember my review, you can see how abused they've gotten over the years. And this is all me. I didn't buy these used. I bought them, and I've used them. And I said they look like a piece of shit you'd find in a garbage can back in like 2003. Just sitting there. It's a plastic speaker. And it's like, oh, I got metal grills attached. And oh, iLoud. Funny name. And you start looking at them and go, oh, they got interesting mounts and they fold. And then, but then the active one was like, oh, there's actual like adjustments and Bluetooth and your volume settings and your frequency flat EQ. And then, you know what? I got these for $200. They're usually $300. And these are the original iLoud Micros. So when I was told by iLoud, because this is the first time they've actually contacted me and I wasn't just buying things myself, when they said, hey, we have the iLoud Micro Pro coming, I was like, well, fly me to the moon, because I love these things. But the thing is, turns out they're not replacing these. My thought was, well, they're going to come out with the version 2, just like they did with the MTMs. No. And I've confirmed this with them. They're not going to stop selling these. So if you're a big fan of the iLoud Micros, you're hoping for a new version of them, you're not going to get it. But that's fine. Because you see, these sell for about $250 now, and they are still to this moment one of the best travel speakers you could have. Travel speakers you can have. Because are they studio monitors? Like, honestly, like really, like deep down, would you trust this little guy here to mix and master and make a final cut with? And I was always like, you know what? Nah. But at least it's an amazing travel speaker. You don't have to worry about damaging the front or the side or anything. You just roll that shit around in your luggage and you can fold in your little stand. And all you had to carry with you was a power brick and the thickest goddamn umbilical cord between the two speakers I'd ever what is it, like 13 gauge cables in here? It was, So these show up and I am mildly perplexed. Because now, excuse me, Lala. Oh, and I'm going to unplug the signal at least. Oh, these are just actually direct wired, full-fledged, go to hell studio monitors. These are no longer the micros. In fact, they're no longer that micro anymore. These are quite significantly larger. I'd say 45% more mass, certainly more width, more height, more depth, more driver size. In fact, I don't have a set down here, but this is essentially the bottom 2/3 of the MTM $800 a pair versions. And the price reflects that, because now if you go to the website, which I did take the time to load, and yes, my Amazon is black. You can do that with Firefox. Support Firefox. They're my favorite browser. And they are being shafted by everybody else in the industry. Like, you can't even upload YouTube videos on Firefox anymore because it's so slow. Ain't Firefox is doing, it's fucking Chrome doing it. So I have to upload all my videos on Chrome and then do all my editing and everything on Firefox. Anyway, here are the original iLoud Micros. IK iLoud Micro, 50-watt portable Bluetooth wireless reference head, blah, 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 blah. $250 for the pair. Slip down here, boom. There it is, iLoud Micro Pro, $250 each. Does come in white, however. No, wait, no. Original Micros come in white. All right, so yeah, basically, the new Pros are twice the price. And I was originally shitting my pants. Just pants full of shit. Because I'm like, oh no, don't do this to my babies. Don't make them larger and then double the price and also not as convenient. There's no Bluetooth on these. They can't be Bluetooth because they're studio monitors. You have to send individual power to each. You have to send actual inputs to each. And then they told me, don't worry, we're still going to sell the original iLoud Micros. They're too popular. They fit this little niche of people who just want really quality travel audio. So they'll sit right here and remind us of where we're coming from. Essentially, this is a new model. I wish they wouldn't have used the Mantra Micro, but they already had it, and it's already got name recognition, blah, 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 blah. So now these, larger everything, larger, like that is nearly the full size of this scope. That's got to be a 1-inch dome. I didn't actually look up the size. I should look up the size. The original Micro, Pro. Original Micro, Pro. Larger everything. Front port. You still get the same LED, which will act as a peak indicator. It'll flash red. Comes with, here's how I knew it was going to be a huge change. Comes with the arc correction microphone like their big brothers do. Only you don't get a port like the other ones do. You have to actually provide your own XLR cable. Because see, it says arc mic. So you got to plug an XLR cable into this, and then it'll act as a correction mic for the speakers, and then it goes through the same correction routine as their bigger brothers, the MTMs. These are, in a word, serious, actual studio monitors. And for $500, you could easily get a low-level JBL or a KRK, God forbid, or even close to an Atom. I haven't looked up Atom studio monitors in a while since I've reviewed any. But I'm assuming $500 still gets you in the ballpark. So now you have to now they're out there actually fighting these larger speakers, just physically larger speakers. But they're doing it still in a smaller package than you would get with that. Let's look at the back real quick. Power button, which is a actual digital button. There is USB plugged in, and that is because we still get to use the X Monitor app. If you haven't watched my review of the MTMs, we're going to go over this app a little bit, not as heavily as I did in that one, just because. So I could unplug this. You don't need a USB. You get either an RCA or an XLR input. As you can see, I'm using an adapted XLR to TRS because I'm sourcing this with a Topping D50 Mark III, which is just a great little unit, and I like using it. And it uses, this as the output, and I'm happy. Plug that back in, and then completely unplug everything so I can still look at it. You get your volume knob just same as on the old one, only you get 2, where you get to go down to infinity, up to a D10 at 0, and up to +6. And then you get the digital buttons here for all the different modes. Hold to calibrate, which you have calibration or desk or flat, which is both, which is what I'm running currently. Then you have high frequency plus or minus, and then low frequency plus or minus, with flat being both lit up. And then you could set the extension from 50 hertz down to 80 hertz, or from 50 hertz up to 80 hertz if you wanted to. I actually have that sub on, but it's not really tuned in. So I have these still running at 50 hertz. 50 hertz in a tiny little speaker is impressive. I guess, okay, it's a studio monitor. It's a iLoud studio monitor. It has all the good bells and whistles. It's got the mounts in the bottom. Still has this folding out extension. Big rubber knobs in the bottom. Hidden screws. You are front ported, so you don't have to worry about it. And you can feel the port gets wrapped up here because it's doing something crazy. Use a figure 8 power plug, so it's a little easier to carry around than if you're going to use a full-size studio monitor with an IEC. Let's plug this back in. There we go. Put you back on the yoga blocks, which, if you don't know, I'm a huge proponent of yoga blocks. And I might have a collab. Well, I might have merch coming that is cork yoga blocks. They're going to be expensive, though. Like, my price to get them to, like, put my name and stuff on is like $31. I don't want to charge $60 for a yoga block. That's dumb. So I may have to sell 100 of them before we get the price down, and then I'll figure it out. Either way, these are some yoga blocks I just got on Amazon. Tuck the wires in for now. Let's hit shuffle. We've got to talk about sound quality. Now, looking at this in the face of someone who does do occasional sound demos where I use my Neumann microphones and I have to sit here and mix and master, up on my main desk, the speakers I purchased with my own money have been the iLoud MTMs, the $800 original Mark 1s. Those have been replaced with the Mark IIs, and now the Mark 1s are sitting on the floor next to my desk. And I was going to put them down here. In fact, I had them down here. And then these showed up a couple weeks later, and then I put these on here. And this is my near-field desk. This is the desk indicated to just sit here and fuck around with, different things, and we play with the K and stack. And I have zero urge to take that $800 set of Mark 1 MTMs and replace these. Because these sound amazing. Forgetting from a point of someone who actually has to mix and master and do things on a speaker, from just someone who needs to occasionally sit down here, watch a video, or is just, dicking around on his phone, waiting for something over there to happen, and just like, yeah. I love these micros. I do. I legit do. But they've been around forever. In fact, these have been abused. I met my girl, took her to my cousin's wedding in 2018. That was 6 years ago. These are the speakers I brought in the hotel room. These are the speakers I brought up to Canada to hang out with her for the first time. These speakers are well fucking traveled with me. And I'm always a little bit annoyed. I got to carry on a power brick and a little annoyed I got to power on a thing. And these certainly don't replace that, because then I'd have to carry around a source that's got a balance into it, but RCA. I guess I could carry around the little tube own would be fucking sweet. The peacock and then that. But then I still got to plug in 2 wires. So it's not like I couldn't use these as I'm traveling to a hotel room. But then I'm like, do I need room correction? Do I need this app, the X Monitor app, which allows me to switch to different studio monitor profiles? Like this. This is whatever a DN5 is. Portable Bluetooth speaker. I showed this off in the previous MTM because it knows it. I plugged in USB. I have 2 USBs plugged in over there. And you don't have to have this plugged in unless you're going to use the app. But if you're going to spend $500 on a pair of speakers that you would individually wire USB to the computer, not for source, but to do all this shit, you may as well. Hi-Fi BW Bookshelf 6. And you can just change the way things sound. Or you go back to Micro Pro default, and that's basically like putting a Tesla into drive like a Tesla now, which is the best mode. That's not a great song. So you could turn on and off calibration, you could set delays, you could do standby timers, you could change individual contours, where if you don't want to mimic another speaker, you could be like, well, I have a large desk free. You put that on, it doesn't show you a correction here, it just changes the way the speaker sounds. And that changes for both of them. Or you could separate it if you want, for some reason, unlink them and have this one sound like something. You have a low frequency gentle lift, you've got mid-range focus, and I can actually hear the sound shape changing. These are very powerful speakers, but not in wattage. They're powerful in the software behind them, can do a lot with the DSP, and the fact that you get to room correct these little guys. You get to do full on set up a thing, 6-point room correction, or is it 4-point? Maybe it'll be 4-point for this. We did it so long ago. These are real studio monitors. These are, in fact, when I was talking about, you can get a JBL, or you can get a KRK, or you can get a cheap Atom, none of those under $500, unless I'm completely wrong, because I haven't done any research. But I'm going to make the assumption, none of those under $500 will do correction. None of those have an app that lets you load different contours. Granted, there are applications you could just figure that out and do that anyway with any speaker. But these are specifically to these measured, accurate studio monitors. And above all of this, even if you're watching this, you're like, well, Zeos, I don't need to have an accurate studio monitor. I don't really need room correction. But do they sound good? Would I recommend these for $500? And I'm going to put the volume up a little bit here. So control the volume there. Because you do have to control the volume in a central source. You can plug it in technically to a DAC and just use a digital volume. I don't recommend that because, well, have you ever had your Windows volume just reset? I'm 23 decibels down on that. I was at 30. These little fuckers scream. They scream. And if I put on... I don't have the sub... No, you're off. You're off. And I'm watching the drivers go... And I'm feeling this low end, and it's just them. Illegal broadcast is coming through. How are these little things throwing any amount of bass down to 50 hertz? It's quite impressive. Fucking quite impressive. I almost wish the MTMs had a front port, because I think it actually works better this way than it does with the rear ports on them. But it's just... When I review small speakers, I review RB42s or I review those Swan Oasis 140s. Those are always in the context of, okay, it's a cute little speaker. Let's put a bunch of expensive amplification behind it, and it'll sound good. These are accurate. There's a big difference between audiophile good and accurate. They aren't always the same. They don't have to be. In fact, life would be very boring if they were the exact same thing. I need these two sort of worlds to exist so that I could bounce between them individually and enjoy my life. I need to know that I could put a set of Swan OS 10s on here. They're cheap. They're $150, and they will sound good. But let me tell you, when you put on Don Quixote, this specific Italian one that's all recorded in a fucking church, and you're on an accurate set of studio monitors that are room corrected and placed and everything's perfect, and then you play it, like that should be damn close to what the actual mastering engineer who was doing the final mastering on this should have gotten. Just, it should be close. It doesn't have to be exactly right. I'm sure he was doing it on something slightly larger with a little bit more space around it, but holy fuck. And that's the volume we're at. We're at like, I don't usually, that's solidly 9 decibels louder than I'm usually listening to these. And it's dumb. That's the Dandy beat from Space Dandy, another show you all must see, but only after you've seen Cowboy Bebop. But only before you've done a lot of drugs, because Space Dandy Season 2 changes directors every episode, and it changes style. It's like giving Tarantino Episode 4, and then giving Spielberg Episode 5, and then giving, who's the guy who did Fight Club? David Fincher, Episode 6. It's like, oh. It's like, oh, so that's what Space Dandy Season 2 is. It's a little preview of, go watch that. This is from High School of the Dead? Seriously? Oh, Spirit from High School of the Dead. All right, whatever. I don't remember enough about that show but titties and zombies. But apparently... Yeah, these, by all intents and purposes, sound like $500 speakers. I was going to come in and be like, oh, they made them more money. These were only $300. And now they're making them $500, but now these are at least out of $250, but you lose the Bluetooth. And I'd still travel with these because they'd have Bluetooth. If I brought this has Bluetooth, but then I'm going to, like, thankfully they're still making just these, because I'm still going to recommend these. In fact, like in the description will be the normal non-pro iLouds. Boom, $250. 50 pairs bought in the last month. But the Pro Doubles doesn't say how many. They've got 18. Did they suck these same ratings? You haven't added. It's another reason they don't rename things is because they keep the same page. So there's 1,800 4.7 ratings because everyone fucking loved these. So they threw these new ones on there and they get to continue those 1,800 ratings. And you know what? They wouldn't go down. The ratings for these are going to be exceptional. iLoud has one of the silliest names, and no one would take it seriously unless they knew. But then you hear them, and you're like, oh, this is Nuclear Meltdown from Epic Score, so I should be able to play it. I need more of these, like, full-on... They don't sound small. They're just vibrating in my... Name a speaker you just pick up like that and like, oh, I feel the power. And I literally do feel the power. That is so fucking loud. And we're not even getting a clip indicator on there. They're just producing it. Like, yeah, it's fine. I wonder if I room corrected it, if there was like a lull and it tried to bring up the low end, if it would actually clip at all. Because right now, it just seems happy as a clam. These are fucking... As far as studio monitors go, you're going to get a lot more tech than you usually do for $500. You're also going to get a much smaller size than you do for $500. And as for a listening setup where it's like you forget about you need to do any work, you're not a professional, you're not mixing and mastering, you're just some guy who just wants a good pair of speakers. If you're looking for portability, like true carry it around portability, get the old ones. Spend $250. Yes, you got to plug them in with a stupid wire from one to the other, and you got a big ugly power brick. But you get your Bluetooth. You just literally set them up in the corner of a fucking hotel room. You Bluetooth your laptop, and you watch shit on it, and you're happy. These are way better speakers. They are a league better than the old ones. And again, they're not old ones. It's just a brand new model. They use the micro name, but we lose the microness. And the weird thing is, they're almost this. It's just like from a distance. Actually, when I unboxed those, I couldn't quite tell how much bigger they were. Spiderweb on here. I couldn't quite tell how much bigger they are, and they are significantly bigger. But I held them in my hand and went like, oh, I can't wait to test these out. And for a moment, I just forgot. So you could, I would not blame you if you forget how big these are compared to the old ones and use them in the same role with just slightly different accoutrement you have to bring around. I need to have like a DAC amp that has RCA outs for these and also a little two-way power splitter so I just have to plug one thing in. Oh, God. This is Hugh Laurie, 6 Feet Cold, by the way. If you haven't heard Hugh Laurie singing, he's pretty good.
Just remember me, darling.
This is a standard on my sound demos, which are accessible now only on Patreon and Subscribestar. So if you did enjoy the old sound demos, you may still access the old ones and new ones, but only through the paywall of Patreon or Subscribestar. So check that out. Yeah, I'm just...
Cosa sei? La frase d'amore cominciata e mai finita.
Mai finita. If you want studio monitors for $500, I'd honestly consider these alongside all the regular old big boys. If you want speakers for your desk and you're looking, well, Zeo said I want to get an amp to power like the Oasis and the OS 10s are good, but I want something a little bit more. These are more. These are more than that. These are more than good enough to recommend for anyone, especially if you've never had something room correct with an actual fucking microphone. You will have to provide your own XLR cable, but like if you've never had a room corrected set of speakers, baby's first room corrected speakers, just to get you into that weird aspect of the hobby. And yes, having your shit room corrected makes a huge difference. I fully endorse these. If these were like $700 a pair, I'd be like, just buy the bigger ones. But at $500, for what they're capable of, the volume, the quality, the feature set, yeah, buy them for $500. And I'm sure at some point, what episode of Made in Abyss has this soundtrack? I Am a Burning Man? What the fuck? Do not recall. Need to rewatch all of Made in Abyss. Anyway, yes, buy these. Support iLoud. They need to change their name. I love them. They're IC Multimedia. It's either iLoud or IC Multimedia. Take your pick. They do an excellent job with their software. You plug it in, it just detects. It's like, is this the left? I'm like, yes. Plug that one. Is it the right? Yes. Software works. Software just works. And it fully adjusts. Force firmware update on speaker. I can do any info? No. Actually, not sure. I haven't checked for a... You can do firmware updates through this. These have been sitting here for a month and a half, and I just haven't done the review. And it's all my fault, because I'm just sitting here going, yeah, I'll talk about these speakers. Yeah, when I'm done, when I'm ready to change them out. I guess those. I'm just not ready to change these out. These are probably gonna live here. Whatever else I review on this desk is gonna be like, ooh, this. And then back to the iLoud Micro Pro. Anyway, I'm done. Links to these on Amazon, links to those on Amazon. That's in the Wallpaper Horde. I think you're on Reddit in the thing, if they even still sell this anymore. Patreon, subscribe star, see reviews early, participate in yard sales, monthly $5 Q&A. See reviews early, participate in yard sales, lossless sound demos, Q&A. I can't get them out of order. I get all fucked up. $10 a month if you want to ask me questions all the time and get into a lifetime swap meet channel. So if you want to buy, sell, and trade gear, you can. I don't do enough stuff at this near field desk. Maybe I should do some. I'm probably going to leave those here. They're just too nice, the KN stack. In fact, I could use that to source these instead of that and then get a little bit of tube going for me, which we'll see. All right, I'm done. You're done. We're done. Thank you. Enjoy the wallpapers, and I will see you in the next one.